Welcome to our 5 on 5. Pleased to be joined today by Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Lisa Greif. You're running for re-election to the bench. Last week we had your challenger, Justice Court Judge Joe Charter, on. I'm pleased you agreed to do this. As you know, we have some pretty tough questions.
Sure.
Last fall, former Jackson County Commissioner Peter Sage released text messages he says are between you and a former on-track employee who was suing that addiction recovery organization. The texts include foul language, even a reference to wanting to kill another sitting judge, Pat Crane. You allegedly wrote, quote, "I was worried about all the witnesses if I just ran and body slammed her," end quote. Why should you remain a judge?
Well, first and foremost, those were text messages that were occurring on my personal cell phone amongst friends. There was a group of friends, not just the one individual. They weren't, in my opinion, as a judge, they were at least a Greif private citizen. So first and foremost, to be thinking about those and how they were sent was on my personal cell phone with private friends. Never something that was intended for personal consumption or for public consumption. The reason those text messages are out there, frankly, is because Rita Sullivan, the defendant in one of those lawsuits, got them as part of her discovery. She then gave them to Judge Pat Crane, and Judge Pat Crane, for about the past year or so, has been trying to get them distributed, and it just turns out that Mr. Sage took the lead and decided to publish those. No one knows the context about what was going on when that was happening, what the relationship was like with Judge Crane and I. I was being treated very poorly by her. I was trying to bring to light lots of problems that were going on at On Track and with Rita Sullivan. And Judge Crane was essentially running interference for Rita Sullivan and for On Track, and was creating, an extremely hostile environment for me, as well as other people who were part of that text message group, including one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit. So I think people need to understand the context that they were in, the fact that they were private. And, as they were about 2 to 4 years ago, I did, subsequently apologize for them. That wasn't appropriate language for me to use. To this day, I still know that that's the truth, that I shouldn't have said those things. I wish I hadn't said those things. At the time, I think I was just running through with a lot of bad karma, bad situations going on, and so being frustrated, feeling like I was a target, I chose to respond in a way that wasn't appropriate. I've since apologized for those text messages, and I think I've definitely learned from them. Like I said, they were somewhere between 2 to 4 years ago.
I'm sure some people are upset by the verbiage, but what likely concerns more is the potentially unethical behavior. Is it appropriate for you to be advising someone in a civil lawsuit, considering some of your work on the bench involves On Track, and you used to be on the board of a similar nonprofit, the Family Nurturing Center?
I never advised the plaintiff about anything. And there's just been so many innuendos and assumptions made about those text messages without knowing the truth. And I never counseled the plaintiff or that person who's a friend of mine and remains a friend of mine. I never counseled her about what to put in a lawsuit. I never strategized with her. I never talked to her about what to draft in a complaint. I never
strategized with her about how to release things to the media or use a quote.
No, I never released anything to the media. We talked about it. We talked about things being released to the media, but I never released anything to the media. She never released anything to the media. There were so many people sending things to the media because there was things going on at On Track that were causing considerable health and safety concerns to those children and families and clients who were using their facilities. And I think some people in the community just got frustrated to the point where nothing's getting done. These are being swept under the rug, and so they turned to the media to get that information out there. And a lot of what was turned over to the media was reports prepared by government agencies who were going in and doing investigations of On Track. To this day, I still have no idea what the On Track Amy Jacobs lawsuit settled for. I don't know the terms of that, and I never was involved in the case in any way. Most of the text messages occurred before the lawsuit was even filed, and once the lawsuit was filed, we immediately, as a group, the Jackson County bench recused themselves, and it got reassigned to an out-of-county judge. So I never even touched that case, nor would I have ever touched that case, because I did know a plaintiff in the case. But I had nothing to do with the lawsuit, never strategized with her, never leaked anything to the media. If nothing else, I was acting as a supporter and a cheerleader for my friend who was going through a very difficult situation.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again here with Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Lisa Greif. We were talking about some text messages from last fall that were a couple years old, but have you spoken to the Judicial Fitness Board about the texts?
You know, they're all confidential proceedings, so
Right.
that's nothing that, even if there was or was not anything, it's all confidential. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand that. That's why I'm asking you,
Yeah.
because they won't tell me. Okay.
Yeah.
You were in charge of Jackson County's mental health court. How is it going right now?
You know, I started that in 2015, and it's been a very successful program. We've had a lot of success with our graduates in terms of reducing the rates of recidivism. We are really changing people's lives, and I'm really proud of what our program has done to improve the lives of people who are struggling with mental health issues in our county.
And I also want to ask you, and we spent a lot of time obviously talking about some history, but coronavirus, things are changing constantly. How is court being affected right now?
You know, we're working diligently with the Office of the State Court Administrator's office up in Salem and other courts to come up with a plan to protect the safety of our employees, of our judges, of people that come in and out of the courthouse, the attorneys, the litigants. And I expect that we will be coming up with some more information that'll be released probably later today. But we are definitely looking at postponing cases to try and meet the recommended guidelines by the healthcare professionals in terms of limiting the amount of people that are congregating in one location, such as the courthouse.
Okay. Well, obviously there's a lot going on in all of our lives right now, and things are changing. I appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.